navigating the home buying process. We value the experience of our agents at Boston Connect Real Estate so much that not only will you hear my perspective on real estate topics, occasionally you will hear the expert thoughts and opinions of our experienced agents at Boston Connect Real Estate. Be a part of our roundtable. If you have any questions during the show, please call 781-837-4900. We love to talk real estate. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and wherever you like to listen to podcasts at Talk Real Estate Roundtable. If you would like a one-on-one consultation with me and my team to discuss your real estate needs,
Matthew McConaughey.
You can connect with me
there aren't
at BostonConnect.com or 781
movie stars I'm
826-8000.
interested in,
Now,
but he's
sit
one.
back, relax, and take good
We'll
notes.
say that online.
And let's talk real estate.
And good morning to my South Shore neighbors. This is Sharon McNamara. You are, of course, listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable, and I am in-house with my Director of Operations here at Boston Connect Real Estate. Of course, Boston Connect Real Estate is the sponsor of this radio show here on WATD every Saturday morning. So thanks for that, Boston Connect Real Estate.
Thank you.
And we also have Tim McKinney in the house. Hello, Tim.
Hello, good morning, Sharon. Welcome back.
Well, thank you. How I've missed you so. I mean, do you miss me in the summer? Because I really do sort of miss you. I mean, I know it's a weird thing, but we're there now.
Yes, we are.
Like he's going to lie to you.
Do you know how long I've known him?
I know. Longer than me, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've
Yes.
known him. I mean, how many years have you been at WATD?
Next month will be 26.
Wow.
Holy
So,
cannoli.
I've known you 26 years. You were like a little baby. I just sounded like Aisha from Down Under.
Who?
Not Down Under, from Below Deck.
Oh, I'm like, who?
Yeah, Aisha.
Oh, Aisha.
Aisha
Oh,
from Below
yeah.
Deck. I was like, I remember you when you were a little baby. Yeah, he was, I mean, just a Todd. A little Todd. A tad.
A little tad.
A little tad. Yeah. Anyways, well, good morning to everybody out there in WATD land. You're listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. And today's topic, it's one of those things, how we roll here. Usually if something happens during the week, that's something we're going to be discussing on our show. So sometimes our agenda, I mean, God love you, Melissa, like God bless you.
Excuse me.
Our agenda can change literally the day before.
In an instant. Or the morning of.
In the morning of. I mean, things just happen, and that's what we go with. But, this topic, it was interesting because Mark and I were having a little bite to eat last night, and we were watching the news because we're out in the pool house, and we were watching the news at, national news, like one of those... What are they called? Like nightly, nightly, not in local news. It was like national news, one of those channels, like Channel 5 or whatever it was. And they had a little section on, I can't talk. Where have I been? I've been gone 2 weeks. I can't talk. And they had a little segment on scams. And I said to Mark, oh, that's interesting. That's what our topic is tomorrow on the radio show.
Yeah, it's not just real estate scams that are out there. I mean, of course, this is a real estate show. We are going to be talking heavily about, scams that are happening in our industry, how we can prevent them, how we can identify them. But also, there's been real life situations with both of us where we've identified scams in real life, and just making sure that everybody's taking precaution. I would love to think that everybody has everybody's best interest in heart and has, a great heart themselves. But
they don't.
Unfortunately, that's not the truth.
I always say, too, like, if they only used that evil towards good, imagine where the world would be. I mean, you have some really bright people out there doing some really terrible things.
Yeah, well, you got to have a villain, I guess.
Yeah, and the thing that's so sad about it, and I would love some input. I know, our listeners have been very silent lately and very shy, and I don't know why. But you can call in, and Tim will pipe you right over to us, even though he's in Marshfield, we're in Pembroke. 781-837-4900, 781-837-4900. We'd love to hear some of your stories as well. If it comes to scams that you picked up on right away, things that you may have questioned. Now with AI involved, there's also this other level that we have to think about. One thing that's near and dear to my heart is our seniors and our elderly community, and making sure that they understand understand what these scams are, because some of the ones they do, and I think a lot of the scams that target older people are going towards the emotions. One of the situations that happened in our office this week or last week with one of our agents, Faith Birmingham, she's a full-time real estate agent here at Boston Connect Real Estate. One of the things that happened with her really upset me, because yes, it was a scam, but secondly is, who are they targeting? I sit on the Affordable Housing Committee for the town of Pembroke, and housing, look, I have goosebumps over it, because it really, really breaks my heart to think that, somebody can, and I'm sort of giving you a teaser here, that you can put a house, steal somebody's listing, make it a rental, and then try to target people by putting a low rent amount on there.
Yeah.
So a low monthly rent is going to be what entices somebody, but it's going to be, you're going after the emotions of people who are in desperate situations. And, when you look at housing and how expensive it is, and then you see a beautiful, 3-bedroom house in a lovely little South Shore community town, of course, for $13.95 a month, you would want to live there, right?
Yeah.
So this is how they're drawing people in, and they're playing at their emotions. And I don't like that game.
Yeah, it's not right.
It isn't.
It is not right. I don't know if we want to jump right into that situation. I can talk about the phone call that I received, but so I received a phone call here at the office a few days ago, and it was this girl. I would say that she's probably around my age, sounded like it. And she just said, hey, I just want to confirm that, this rental is actually for rent. I saw it online and blah, blah, blah. And at the time, there are 2 agents in our office who have put on quite a few rentals in the past couple of weeks. So I was anticipating it to be one of their rentals. And then she said, do you have a rental on a XYZ street? And I said, actually, no, I have a home for sale on that street. And she said, okay, that's what I thought. She got into the conversation that she's been having with this, and I'm using air quotes, listing agent for this rental. It was a gentleman saying that he had this property for rent, and that he was willing to meet her there. And he kept saying, I'll meet you there if you want to see it. I'll meet you there if you want to see it. Don't you want to see it? And she kind of got a little nervous, rightfully so. And, who wants to meet somebody off of the internet, at a sort of vacant property. But, and then he said, if you don't want to meet me there, then I'll just send you the link to fill out the application and you can send a deposit. And she just found it to be a little strange. So part of the thing that was strange is that the ad had the street, but not the number. So when she Googled the street, she noticed that there were 2 properties on that street that were for sale, that there was nothing for rent. She compared the photos and noticed that it was our listing, went on our website, figured it out, and she called and she said, I just want to confirm, is this for rent or this for sale? And I said, it's absolutely for sale. It's not for rent. And I asked her, I said, may I ask where you found this ad? And she said, I'm sort of embarrassed to say, but I'm...
And kudos to her for at least
having the conversation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She said, I'm a little embarrassed to say, but I am desperate for my mom. She's just in a situation where I'm just trying to help her find a rental that's local. But I found it on TikTok. I was communicating with somebody. He had a full profile, a lot of different rentals on the South Shore. So I thought it was legit. So we're still talking. I'm looking up the person, and there it is, the ad for our listing that he has for rent, in air quotes. And I said, that is absolutely a scam. Please do not ever meet anybody off of TikTok in real life. So please do not send him any money, which we caught it in a time where she hadn't done anything other than just communicate with him on her phone. But I said, absolutely not. So she reported it. I reported it. I called
Did she
Faith.
actually have voice conversation with him, or was it all through text?
It was all through text. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So she had, and I had seen, just based off of the name that she had given me of herself, that she had commented on the video asking for more information. My assumption is he, sent her a DM and they're going back and forth. And I think when she was like, I don't really want to meet you in person, and the price was pretty below market value.
That was my point too, is like playing on the emotions of people, and that's what's pulling people in. You know? They're hoping that it's true.
Yeah.
But they have to, well, she had really good instincts.
I'm
going on to TikTok right now because I went on there a couple times, and I'll finish that. And once you finish your story, but I said, this is a scam right on there. I'm curious if you took it off. I'm going to go look.
Yeah, I reported it. I know Faith reported it. The woman I spoke to on the phone reported it, and I sent it to the whole office, and I said, please report this profile. It is a scam. I went through the whole profile to make sure there weren't any other Boston Connect listings on there. I didn't see anything else. I looked him up in MLS to see if he was a real agent, not in MLS. So it just, I'm fortunate that I had a conversation with somebody who could identified that it was sort of something was fishy about it, and had the right mind to call here and, do that investigation and find out that it's our listing and everything. So the other thing is that this person took all of Faith's pictures, which she owns the rights to those pictures.
Yeah.
And, it's just really unfortunate. But again, I am glad that it happened to somebody who was tech savvy. Not everybody is tech savvy and can do that sort of investigative work beforehand, and then also gave us a call to let us know. I thanked her for that, and I said that I would let my broker know, and obviously I let the listing agent know, and it's unfortunate. And
does that mean 2 million people looked at this thing?
No, that just means Hanson.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what? Yeah, because I'm on here now, and you can see my text is still there. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that's actually manned by anybody. I think it's sort of they throw it up there if people want more information.
But here's the interesting part about this is I wrote, this is a scam. Police have been contacted, because I did contact.
We're just going to sneeze.
Excuse me. I don't know what's going on in here. I did contact the new chief of police in Pembroke, and I texted her just to say, hey, like, what do I do with this? And but what's interesting. I'm so sorry. We need one of those buttons. Sorry, Tim. I couldn't hold it in. So I wrote, this is a scam. Police have been contacted. And then underneath it, people are saying, when can I move in? And then the person responded with, ready to move in, contact the number for more information. People are saying, what is the square footage? I'm interested. What number McQuan is it? I used to live on the street. Oh, I just said the street number. I just sent a message to that number looking for my mom. There's no way this must be per bedroom. So I don't know what else you can do other than saying this is a scam. I've called the police.
Yeah.
And people are still that desperate for housing.
Maybe we should call TikTok and just say, hey.
Yeah.
But you know what? These types of things happen all the time. And I will say, so I sent an email to the office just letting everybody know, just be aware of these things. And I actually received a message. I won't say who it is just for privacy reasons, but I received an email back from one of our agents and said, a couple months ago, I received a knock on my door at her own house, and a gentleman was at the door. He had a couple bags with him, and he said that he had found my house on Craigslist and had rented it for the week. She lives in a town that very much you can vacation in for a week, go to the beach.
And recently purchased it so pictures would be available to the scammer.
And somebody went and made a fake listing of her property for rent for a week, and this guy actually paid. And she said, she felt bad for him, of course, because, he shows up thinking that he's going on vacation, and she's like, no, and he's out all this money, but it was a scam. I was like, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. But you know what? I can believe it because we're just seeing all these things. And, you know, you were interviewed one time a couple of years ago. Somebody had come in and interviewed you about a rental scam that had involved one of your listings. And it's scary. It's scary because, like I said, if you're not this tech savvy person, if you're not, you know, into investigating like I am, I love to investigate things, then you could fall for these things because they are.
The name of his thing is Judy Living, and it's a picture of a gentleman, which is like, I don't
Juddy.
get. Oh, is it Juddy?
I read it as Juddy.
Oh, okay, maybe that's it.
Only because there's 2 D's.
Oh, yeah. But, you know, here's the other thing, too, is with this scam that happened, you know, what they, you know, one was, it was like a $70 application fee. My assumption is, okay, you send the $70, like these people aren't getting rich on, you know, $70 at a time. I would bet my bottom dollar on the fact that once they have your contact information into your bank account, that they are taking everything in it. But I also think the second level of that scam was because you just sort of mentioned upon it that I had a listing one time and I was the listing agent on that property, and then somebody bought it directly with me, and I knew that she had wintered in Florida. So I knew that, you know, when it came to, I don't even know how it got back to me that someone was trying to rent. Oh, she called. No, I ended up calling her. I don't remember how it worked out. But anyways, the whole situation with that, they stole the pictures that I had online and everything else. And they would say, oh, meet me at the property. I'll show you the property, blah, blah, blah. But then they'd call and say, I got a flat tire.
I think what had happened is somebody had contacted you interested in renting
Yes,
it.
it was another client that I had.
Yeah, another client. And you were like, what are you talking about? So you reached out to your client who owns it and said, hey, are you renting your unit for, you know, the summer or the winter? And she's like, no, why? That's sort of how the snowball started, because you
what a small world too, right?
Small world. You had another client interested in that unit.
I had sold her house.
Yeah.
And she was living on the North Shore and then just wanted something small back here. But then that second level of that scam was that they would, you know, oh, I can't make it. I got a flat tire. Here's, you know, the application, or here, just give me first, last, and security. It's just really, really dangerous. I mean, this is a real estate show. We're talking about all different types of scams today, but just the best advice I can give when it comes to real estate is just, you should be working with a professional real estate agent, right? So someone that you know, somebody that you've met. Don't just be calling all over the place. If you're looking for a rental, for the most part, you know, there are a lot of rental agents out there that do a lot of rentals, and, you know, you should be working with somebody you know.
Yeah. I will say there's a movie called The Beekeeper. It's Jason Statham. I mean, every Jason Statham movie is exactly the same. They're all I'll show you a picture, you know who he is. They're all action. He's, you know, fighting a crime or some reason. But this particular movie is they call them beekeepers. He actually became a beekeeper, but it's like like hitmen or like CIA type things. When they retire, they become beekeepers because they have to have a hobby. So somebody that he is close to or rents like this type of like where he keeps his bees from, she gets scammed. Sort of like an older woman. She gets scammed somehow. Somebody goes on her computer and says, like, there's an urgency. You got to send money here. And somehow gets a bank account, whatever, and drains her whole entire bank account. And so the whole movie is about him going after these scammers.
But you could do that. You're an investigator.
I know.
For sure.
Yeah.
When I was watching the news the other day, and I'd like to give credit to it, it was like Channel 5 Nightly News or something, you know, the national one. I don't know who the anchor is or anything, or who did the piece, but one of the pieces, they had a woman on there, and I felt so bad for her. But I can't believe what she did. and why it wasn't. And again, I think that these things are happening to people. They're sort of questioning it in their head and why they're not talking to their family members about it beforehand. And this is like for my elderly community that might be listening right now, you know, if somebody is calling you and asking you for money, like please, please, please don't give anybody any money.
Yeah.
And you know, including somebody who might say that they are your family members, because that was a big scam too, right? They'd say, oh, Nana, this is, and with AI right now, they can steal people's voices right off of social media when people are doing videos. So don't do that, and always get in touch with somebody like your son, your daughter, a family member.
Yeah, I do want to move on to phone call scams because, you know, and again, this is a real estate show, but we have so many different scam avenues here. But I think phone scams are sort of the most successful ways that people can get money from.
That's one of the things that happened this week.
Yeah.
With the printer.
Yes, with the printer. I counted on my phone. I got 9 phone calls yesterday from... oh, your application for a personal home loan is, you know, granted for XYZ money all day, every day. And I know so many people who gets phone calls like this. 9 phone calls in a day.
And you know,
throw my phone out the window.
Well, the thing is, it's actually interrupting with my business, to be quite honest. So I had a conversation yesterday with my developer, and he has a program where if somebody goes onto their website and they push a button, it will call me. So he was going through the call log and noticed that there were a couple calls that I didn't answer. And I said, well, I prefer to call people back because I get so much scam all day long. I can't stop every time my phone rings because it's scam, you know, and if I'm with a client, I can't do that. And it's interesting because now it's interfering with my business because I don't even trust people who are actually calling me with a different area code anymore.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. So, but like now it's like, if it's important, you'll leave me a message and I'll call you back. And I think that that's where, like, one of the things I did on my voicemail, first of all, my phone number is in the do not call list. So when I pick up and I can tell it's a scammer or someone trying to sell me something, I'm like, this is a do not call phone number. It still isn't working and they're still calling and getting through that. But I think that I'm going to add something to it that, you know, if you're calling regarding one of my listings, I apologize that I am not answering my phone. As you are probably aware, you know, there's so many scam calls. Please leave me your number and the information, like the property you're interested in, and I will call you back. Yeah. And that way there, maybe it will sort of get some of those out. Yeah. I can tell you're anxious to get onto something else, but I want to talk about the one that we got, and you said that I got it on my phone, and you said that they've been calling the office a lot. And you also, you have to think like a criminal, and that's really hard to do when you're not, right? So I got a phone call. This person has called several times. I picked up the phone that time, and that's the other thing. Now they're using area codes that look like they're in the area, right? So I picked it up, and they're like, "Oh, we're calling on your whatchamacallit, we're calling on your printer, and we need some information regarding your printer, something to do with the warranty or something like that." And she said, is the address 19 Mattakesett Street? And I never say yes to any of these any of these people calling, because then they take that recorded yes, and then they like sign you up for stuff, and then it's like, oh, well, we have you saying yes on the phone. So I said at first, and again, I wasn't sure at first. I was like, that is the address, right? And then she's like, oh, well, I need to get this information off of this. And I was like, I'm in my car. Yeah. I'm not in front of my printer. And she's like, well, when is the best time for me to call you back? And I said, how about I call you back? And they hung up. Yeah. So I thought, all right, here's a scam with my printer. And think about how sophisticated all our equipment is now. So our main printer in the office is connected to our network. Our network is connected to my computer and your computer are probably the two most important computers in this office, right? So what an easy way to get on, to get into QuickBooks, to get into all of our accounts, find our passwords, do all that. So you have to be really careful. Nobody is going to call you for this stuff.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, she'll call the office, and I've spoken to her several times. She calls the office and she asks for the serial number because she wants to send us an updated user manual. She wants to confirm the address and everything, and I always say that we have a company that services our printer. We don't need a user manual. Oh, well, there is an updated. Can you just say, when's the best time for me to call back? Can you please just go and look at the serial number? And I just say no.
How do these people sleep at night?
Well,
I don't know. Like, how does this, because the girl that called, she sounded young.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How does she sleep at night? I don't even know.
And I texted the guy who, does service our printer, and he said that's a scam.
Yeah.
Sounds like a scam to me.
Yeah.
So.
Back to this McQuon, the street one, right? The rental one.
Yeah.
I just wanted to also mention one of the things that I did is I went on to his profile, and I looked at all of he is just loaded with houses here. Like, look at them all. I mean, there are hundreds in here, right? And look at them all. And I called a couple of the agents. Like, I looked them up in MLS because I could see the address. So I looked them up in MLS, and I called a couple of the agents just to say, I got everybody's voicemail, but maybe they don't answer their phone like me. And they said, I said, I just didn't know if you were aware, but your property is being used as a scam. And these seem to be all Massachusetts ones. I was actually going to call like one of the news stations, like maybe like Fox 25 News or something like that. And I think that they should do another refresher segment on this topic, because this guy is out there in full force, or girl, or whoever, or group of people.
Yeah, or scammer company, and the beekeeper's going to come after them.
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting too, because now he has in here like somebody playing baseball, so he's trying to make it look like he's like a
normal person,
loving family man. Yeah.
Getting back to phone call scams, I have a list here of common phone scams. So there's the bank fraud department. So when you pick up these phone calls, if you're not already associated with some of these departments, chances are they're a scam. If you're, IRS and tax scams, Social Security scams, Medicare scams, utility shutoff notices, Amazon purchase verification, or how about those text messages that you get? We are attempted to deliver your package. It's from the USPS, but it's not. Don't click on the link. Please
don't
do not click on the link.
And this is the thing is, we were talking about this earlier. It's the psychology that's behind every one of these scams, right? The fear, the urgency, the excitement, the sympathy, the trust, those things. Back to when I was watching that segment last night, I felt so bad for this woman because it was somebody that called pretending to be from her bank, saying that her account was hacked and that she had to go to the bank, take all of her money out. I can't believe how she fell for this.
I don't know.
To take all of her money out. So she took $9,000 out of the bank, and that they were sending a courier to pick it up because they were bringing it to like a federal bank or a branch or something.
And this all happened?
And she did it.
Oh, no.
But I felt bad for her. She was on TV. It's like she was crying during this interview. She's like, I'm so embarrassed to think that I actually fell for this. And I would say she was probably in her 70s. And she's like, I'm so embarrassed that I fell for this, but I feel that I have to tell people about it because I don't want it to happen to somebody else.
Yeah.
She's like, I can't sleep at night thinking about how foolish I was.
Yeah. Last summer, I was in CVS in Pembroke Center, and I walked in, and there was a gentleman on the phone, on speakerphone, thankfully, with somebody at the gift card department, right at the end where the cards are. And I don't know if I was in there for something. I was walking by him, and I overheard something that just didn't sit right with me. I actually was in there to get some cards, and I couldn't focus because I remember just like being so interested in his conversation. It was on speakerphone. He's in public. I'm allowed to hear, right?
But I have ears.
The person on the phone was instructing him to purchase a gift card for $500 and to give him the gift card number over the phone. Whatever conversation happened before I sort of intervened, I'm not sure. But a lot of these gift card scams are, oh, hey, this is so-and-so, I'm in jail. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's happening to a demographic where maybe their grandchildren somehow they're getting these recordings, or they have things that sound like their grandchildren, and they're in jail and they're asking for money or whatever. But in this case, this guy on the phone was there was some sort of a miscommunication, because the guy who was in CVS, he was trembling, like so nervous, so
older,
upset,
right?
Older. Just, he's like, okay, what gift card do I get? And how much do I have to go back to my bank to transfer more money? And that just sort of triggered in my head. I was like, okay, that's not right. Like, what is happening here? So I just stood there and I was listening, and the guy on the phone said, okay, did you get the gift card? And the gentleman who was in CVS said, yes, I did. But he meant, yes, I have it in my hand, not that I purchased it. The guy on the phone assumed that he had purchased it and said, okay, now can you read the numbers to me? And I just tried to get the guy's attention. I said, it's a scam. Please just hang up the phone. He does not need this. Like, please. And he was so nervous. He was shooing me away. He was saying, please, I have to do this. Please just stop to me. And I tried to get his attention again. He was very nervous. The guy on the phone was very insistent. Please give me the number. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to get anywhere with this guy, because whatever he said to him,
playing on his emotions.
Yeah, whatever he said to him before I got there shook him up. So I went up front to the girl behind the desk at CVS, and I said, I just want to let you know that the situation. And she said, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I'm going to call, my manager, and I'm sure we'll call the police. And I was like, okay. I go, he's coming up here to buy a $500 gift card. Please do not
don't let him.
I recently had to, I think it was, I don't even remember what it was, but I had to purchase a large gift card. I had collected money from people, and we were doing a joint gift. And I remember, I think it was probably $500 buying a gift card. And I had to answer questions. Okay, have you been contacted by somebody requesting this gift card? Things like that. And I just had to assure them, no, it's a gift from me. Like, no, like, we know she is having a baby.
and think about how sad that is. And again, that's preying on our senior generation. It's preying on the emotions, right? It was probably that scam where, hey, grandpa, papa, pops, whatever, I'm in prison, and please don't tell mom and dad because I'm going to get in trouble. And that's how they capture them. So to all our listeners, this is not an FBI station. You're listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable here on WATD. And I am Sharon McNamara, the broker-owner of Boston Connect Real Estate. And I'm here with Melissa Wallace, who is the Director of Operations and Agent Liaison here. And we have Tim McKinney, who's in the house in Marshfield. If you have any stories that you'd like to share with us, I mean, we want to have this show not just based on real estate. Yes, we have some other examples of real estate scams and things for you to watch out for, but we'd love to hear your stories, because your stories are going to probably save somebody else a situation. So call us 781-837-4900, 781-837-4900. You can also text that number, just so you know, and Tim will just read us your question.
I do have a text from my mom. She said, I won't say her friend's name, but she said, this happened to my friend. They called in the middle of the night and said that they were the police from Las Vegas, and they needed him to go get gift cards and send them the numbers to release the grandson. And then she said, I'm so proud of you for alerting people of what's going on.
Yeah, I'm proud of her too.
But it doesn't sound like he fell for it. So, and there have been times where people in our office have gotten either a text from you.
Yeah, I just put that on our list.
A text or an email from you alerting you that you're in a closing. You need a closing gift for a client. You don't have a way. Can you just go grab a gift card for me and just send me the numbers? That's a scam.
That is a scam. And we try to tell our agents, but it sounds so real. And of course, again, playing on the emotions of people, right? So these are intelligent people that work here, right? And you know what? We had somebody, right? A newer agent, younger, just new into the business, and we think that he fell for it.
Yeah.
And, I think I think about him in that predicament was, oh, my boss, which, I'm not really anybody's boss. I'm their broker, but,
You're my boss.
yeah, yes, I am your boss. But, I think, that playing on the emotions, like, oh, Sharon needs something, but I mean, that would go both ways. Like if any of my agents, if I saw a text, of course I would be there to help one of the agents. And that's what they wanted to do. It's that scam. What was there was another scam too that was out recently with those gift cards. And, I can't remember exactly how it worked, but anyways, anyhow.
Yeah.
All right.
Some prank fraud calls. So you can receive you can receive a call saying that there's how come I can't say that word? Suspicious charges have been detected on your account. The caller already knows your name, asks if you can verify your debit card number to provide a one-time security code sent to your phone, and that code gives access to their online banking.
One of the scams that happened to me, and it wasn't because I allowed it to happen, but I did find out about it. It was pretty easy for me to get alerted on this because I'm self-employed, right?
Yeah.
So during COVID, it was a big one. And unfortunately, my Social Security was used towards it, that somebody filed for unemployment. So, I mean, to me, I'd be pretty easy to figure out that I'm not filing for unemployment. I'm self-employed, right?
Yeah.
We don't have unemployment. So that was a huge mess. I mean, that's the other thing that comes along with all these, like being vigilant is part of the process to, one, save your bank account and your money, but also the time and the energy and the resources that have to go into fixing these things. I mean, everything in my life is on a credit lock. So I have Experian. So I go on there and I lock my credit.
Yeah.
So
Ethan has the same thing. Somebody took out a Target card, twice has taken out Target cards or attempted to take out Target cards using Ethan's identity. And when we first started dating, I remember his company had reached out to him and said, hey, we just received information that you filed for unemployment. You still work here, right? You still work here. So somebody had tried to get him unemployment, and somehow, some way, they reached out to his real employer to confirm that he no longer worked there. And they're like, no, he still works here. He's been getting a paycheck.
yeah, it's good. I mean, that ended up being a huge fiasco
Yeah.
for me, and like getting all the paperwork and proving that I didn't file for this. And then it was interesting because when I bought this car, 5 years ago, I bought this car. I remember sitting there and they were doing like the credits, whatever to it. And maybe it was more than 5 years ago because when was COVID? So yeah, it had to have been more than 5 years, whatever it was. And they were like, oh, you got denied. I was like, what? I was like, what is, but that makes me nervous. Because I'm always like, what do you mean I got denied? That makes me think immediately somebody's in my account.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, that doesn't make sense that I got denied. Like I have an 820 credit score or something. Right. And I'm like, well, why? Why did I get denied? And they're like, well, because. And then they went back and looked, and they're like, "Oh, we can't pull your credit." And I was like, "Well, that's different than being denied."
That's different than being denied. Don't you have that alert?
Dumb. I was actually going to buy a different car than I bought, and I didn't end up buying that one.
Yeah. Utility scam. So sometimes someone will claim your electricity bill or another bill will be shut off within the hour unless you immediately pay using gift cards or a payment app. Nobody is asking for that. If anything, they're going to ask you to come in person with a check or, like a cashier's check or something. Like you are
With
not...
phone scams, here's the thing. Someone says they're calling from your utility company. Somebody says they're calling from your bank. Somebody says they're calling from your credit card. Any of those things, my top tip is say, thank you. I appreciate that alert. I'm going to hang up with you now, and I'm going to call the number on the back of my credit card. I'm going to call my bank directly. And they'll hang up on you before
Yeah.
you even finish the sentence, and then you know it was a scam.
I just realized I had a phone call a couple weeks ago claiming that I had an unpaid medical bill that I needed to pay. I was, they were going to send it to collections and everything. And I'm like, well, what is it for? Like, because I have my chart. So it's like there was nothing. I didn't owe anything in my chart, nothing. And I'm like, well, can you send me like an itemized like bill so I can see what it's for? And never received an itemized bill. When I go into my chart, there's nothing there. I have not gotten anything in the mail. So I'm like, I'm not paying it. Like, if anybody comes to me.
Can medical bills and invoices, can they send collections out for that?
I don't remember. I don't think that it can go against your credit anymore. I'm not.
Yeah,
I think
I
at some
wonder
point
about
there
that.
They
was.
used to be able to do that. If it was
Yeah.
after a certain amount of time you didn't pay the bill, then you
Yeah.
get something in the mail and hey,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
can they send you to a credit? Like, what are those places called? Like, the credits.
a collection agency.
Yeah, like a collection agent. Can they do that with medical bills?
I think they used to be able to.
Yeah,
But they
I don't
can't
know if-
anymore?
Yeah, I don't know if they can anymore. I know at some point, like
Yeah.
it used to be able to impact your credit score.
Yeah.
But I don't think it can.
I don't think it can anymore either. Yeah, I mean, all right, so that's a good thing for people to know. No one
Yeah.
will be calling you
But it was
because your
like-
medical bill is
Yeah.
past due.
I was like, yeah, I don't think so. But they wanted me to make a payment over the phone. And I said,
No.
okay, well, I'll make a payment once I have an itemized bill of what it is that you're charging me for. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't $5, let me tell you that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you're not getting anything. And I just realized that I had got that call and I have not gotten any follow-up. Well, maybe someone will knock on my door.
Yeah. So,
We don't have much time left, but I want to get into like emails because we've talked about text and like sort of online scams. And this says many scams begin with a simple click. There's a lot of phishing emails, text messages we've talked about. And they look legit, which is so scary because sometimes you're like,
which makes it, like I said, they're preying on the people that don't understand technology. They're preying on the people with emotions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to be really, really careful. So with the email one, we've talked about this on the radio show before too, is, these scammers have a way of getting in. Like, I always get cringy when I see anyone who has an AOL account or Hotmail or any of those types of email accounts. It's time to get rid of those and just get a Gmail account, okay? Because Mary and I had a client that was selling their home, and in the process, unbeknownst to Mary, somebody had gotten into her email chain and was reading everything. This was part of the example that they gave last night too on the TV program I was watching. And so it wasn't based on coming through. We had our guy research it. It didn't come through us. We have Microsoft Office and very well protected. It came through an attorney that had an AOL account. So it came through that door. And what it did is it just sort of follows along. And it's like, okay, this is real estate.
Yeah.
And it was following along. It started responding to Mary or responding to the attorney, and they made up a different account. And it was like, at the time it was Mary Baker. So it was like marybaker.bostonconnect at XYZPPT, whatever, right? And people don't pick up on all that. They just saw Mary Baker, they saw Boston Connect, and they didn't look at that. And we had the closing, and we had the proceed checks. I want to say it was over $300,000 maybe for our client. We were holding the check. We were just waiting for it to be recorded. And she was coming to the office to pick up the check. So everything was all set. Client was actually on her way to the property, to our office, and to pick up her proceeds check. And the attorney called Mary and said, Mary, I can't wire those funds now. I already gave you the check. And Mary's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So the closing happened a day earlier than what was supposed to happen or something like that. And Mary's like, I don't know what you're talking about. She goes, well, I just got an email from you that said that you wanted me to wire the proceeds versus send a check.
I think it was the same day, but the time had changed. So it was supposed to be in the afternoon because she wasn't purchasing anything that day. So the closing actually happened in the morning, and that's why we were holding the check until it hit the record. And so for the fraudster, they probably thought, okay, I have enough time to ask for a wire transfer now instead of receiving a check, when really the closing had already happened. We already had that check in hand. So, I mean, great for the attorney for calling Mary and saying, instead of responding via email. But sometimes time is of the essence and you got to have that sense of urgency.
Yeah. And too, like no one picked up on it because Mary obviously wasn't getting those emails.
Following along the whole time.
Yeah, so the other attorney was probably like, Mary was at one point saying, I don't understand, this attorney doesn't seem very corresponding very
responsive
well.
When really the attorney was responding to the fraudster.
Exactly. And the other one we had in here just a couple of years ago was one of our agents had a listing and had a buyer.
Yeah, she represented the buyer.
Did she?
Talking about the same with the wire?
Down the Cape?
With the wire transfer?
Yeah, the wire transfer?
Yeah,
I think that was a Cape House somewhere.
Yeah,
wasn't
represented the buyer.
She had the buyer, and I feel like it was the other way around because they asked our agent, they were at the home inspection. When I get the second deposit, can I wire you the funds? And she said, no, we don't take wire transfers. We only take certified bank checks. Right? Yeah, because I remember her coming in.
I remember it differently, but that might be true.
And then when, because I remember the broker owner of that company came in here too, and she's like, I can't believe my client did that. So the buyer, who was also an attorney, so this can happen to anybody, right? Like very, younger person on top. I'm not saying that the elderly are the only ones that get taken in these scams because it's very easy to happen. So he got his purchase and sales agreement. He got somebody tapped into the email chain, said that it was the person. Here are the wire transfer numbers. He sent it. And as soon as he sent it, he remembered back being at that home inspection and hearing our agent say, we don't accept wire transfers. And he knew. And it was like $60,000, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think it was even probably more than that.
Yeah.
But he, was in a financial situation where he could still move forward.
Yeah.
But I don't think that he ever received that money back.
No. And once it's gone, it's gone. Yeah. You're never finding that.
Yeah.
It just disappears into the air. So we only have, what other topics
when it comes to emails, things that you should look for, does the sender's email match the company? Is the greeting generic? Are there spelling or grammar mistakes? Does the message create unnecessary urgency? Does the link actually go to where it claims? Don't click on any links. Please don't.
Yeah.
Please don't. I think that we have gotten into a practice, at least with some of our attorneys with wire transfers and things like that. We pick up the phone first, give that voice to voice, tell them this is what we're going to be doing. I am going to be sending you a link. And then you get onto the, the web part of it and send that link in. But you got to set the expectation first.
100%. Because, there is one of the attorneys that we use. Their office is very automated and very, uses, they send you a link that you have to like fill in information. You know what I mean? So we know that is real, but, and there's other scams. There's one that I heard of, and I know we have to get, because I want to talk about some of my new coming soons and some other things going on in the office too. But I know that I was recently talking to somebody and an attorney, and he was telling me a story, and we've seen this happen before. Remember, I had one where somebody reached out to me and said that they wanted to list their land, right? Yes. That is a big one where they'll find parcels of land that look like, nothing's been happening to them for years, and it's just sitting there. This person contacted me via email to list a property, said they couldn't find the title, couldn't find the deed to the property, couldn't do any, they had nothing. That's never going to happen. I had a fire and everything burned. It's just, you know what, when something seems so far-fetched, it truly is. The thing that was interesting about that person calling me, think about this, Massachusetts, pretty big.
Yeah.
Lots of land, many. It was literally less than a quarter of a mile away from my house. I know the actual owner of the lot that he chose.
Yeah.
Did I tell you this? Because
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
my neighbor. I mean,
It was in an email.
Yeah.
It was an email from your neighbor.
Yeah, from my neighbor. Yeah.
That, in quotes, that they wanted to sell the land. And you were like, what?
Yeah. So I texted his brother because I'm the person who owns the land actually doesn't live in Massachusetts, but his brother lives next door, who actually was born on the same exact day as Mark in the same exact hospital at South Shore Hospital. So like it's weird. But I texted him and I was like, "Hey, Scotty, is your brother selling the land next to you?" I said, "I'm assuming no. This seems very much like a scam." He's like, "No." And I was like, "You guys got to put something on that, because if you see a for sale sign on it, that means an agent wasn't paying attention." But those things happen. But I was talking to this attorney. Same thing happened. It was down the Cape somewhere. The land was sold. So someone put it on the market. The land was sold. A builder bought it.
Yeah.
Built a big house on it. Person comes home from wherever, Florida, a couple of years later, shows up to the land, and there's a house on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens.
It
It's
happens.
crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Tell us about a couple new listings you have coming on.
Yeah, so it's been a busy week here. I think people are just sort of getting ready for the fall market and trying to get out for the winter because they want to escape and go someplace warm. So I have 2 new listings that are going to be coming on the market this week. They're both in Pembroke. I don't have exact pricing yet because, as you know, and we've talked about this on the radio, I like to wait until we're actually going live to sort of solidify what that number will be. But one of them will be in Pembroke. It's a split level, and it is a 3-bedroom, and it has a 1-car garage, beautiful land.
Yeah.
Lots of sort of upgrades on it. That's probably going to be in, I think we solidified that one, like $675 for that one. And then the other one I have is a 3-bedroom Cape, quaint little Cape. A lot of mechanical updates have been done, but there's some wallpaper and there's a couple things like that, so cosmetically, this is going to be a great opportunity for somebody to be able to put their own equity into this house and make it their own.
Yeah.
The house is going to be priced reflective of that condition. I'm not saying it's a tear down. It is not. It is just, it's not updated with a brand new kitchen and baths and that type of stuff. So, but a really, really good opportunity for somebody to put a lot of their own sweat equity into it. Great lot, great neighborhood area. So yeah, that will be coming on, and that's going to be, I'm just going to say, in the 6s, because that number has not been solidified yet.
So those are both coming on the market next week. So be sure to follow us at Boston Connect Real Estate. Go to bostonconnect.com to find all of our listings. We have a ton of open houses this weekend. Cochise Estates, of course, in West Bridgewater every single Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 1. Team Flynn has 360 High Street in Whitman. They will be there today from 10 to 11:30. That is on the market for $549,999. The Grady team have a brand new listing. It's great. It is 220 Center Street, Unit 17 in Pembroke. That is on the market for $825. They will be there today and tomorrow from 11 to 1. And Sue Bollinger will be at 30 Grant Street in West Bridgewater tomorrow, 1:30 to 3. That is on the market for $569.
And that's adorable. I went and looked at that one. That one is a flip, and they did a really nice job on it. So I know that she's been over there staging it and doing some stuff to it. So go look at that house in West Bridgewater. Nice little side street. So it's a great opportunity. They've lowered the price over there. So thank you. And again, if you have any questions for us, if you're thinking about selling a house or buying a home and you'd like to work with me, feel free to call me, 781-294-4848. Again, we have tons of wonderful agents here at Boston Connect. You hear them here on this radio station when I am not here. We have Tracy Grady. We have Sue Bollinger. We have Kristen Howlett. We have Faith Birmingham, all people who fill in for me here and out on the road. But you can also go to bostonconnect.com and find all of our agents, and you can find the profile that mixes best with you. Have a great day. Bye, Tim.
For staying late to complete the process of confirming him as the